So we were done with the chapter 1 and the subchapter 1. So starting with chapter 2. So chapter 1's recording today itself I will upload it off onto YouTube and share the link with those of you who've joined today. And also this particular book has been shared on the group. This is the book we will be referring to, the Vivek Debroy Ramayana. Right. So yeah, we will stick to this particular book. So I've also shared the other book, which is of the Gita Press, Gorakhpur Gita Press. So that has the shlokas within it. So you can see, if time permits for you during your day, you can also read through the shlokas also. I'll ask my niece Rashmi for some help there. If she can maybe record it and then send it to all of you, so you can maybe just listen to it if you have difficulty reading Sanskrit after a long time. So that way, I'll ask her to record it and put it up, maybe chapter by chapter, so all of us can listen to it at least and have that grace, that punya, right? So, okay, so let's get started. ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वम् अरोगताम् अजाढ्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनूमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं रामनामवरानने। निःश्रेण्यौ ब्रह्मलोकस्य वाग्देव्याः कर्णकुण्डले धर्मद्रुममहामूले वाल्मीकिव्यासयोः कृति. So this last shloka, just for the ones who just joined now. So the first shloka that I recited was called the Ganapati Avahana Stotra. So that is the Gananam Tva Ganapatikam Havamahe, that shloka. Usually when you are beginning anything, we begin with that particular shloka to invoke the presence of Lord Ganapati. So whatever we start is going without any obstacles, right? So then of course we had the Gayatri mantra, and then Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam. So that shloka is on Valmiki Kavi, right? So, and maybe I can post the meanings for those of you who are interested. I'll post the meanings along with the shloka. Yeah, and then Buddhir Balam Yashodhairyam is about Hanuman. Of course, when we start Ramayana, we can never start Ramayana without Anjaneya's or Hanuman's presence, right? He automatically comes wherever there is Ramayana being recited, is what we've all heard, right? Sri Rama Rama Rameti, of course, that's the Maha Mantra, the Taraka mantra of Sri Rama Rama Rama, right? So that also we've all heard. Yeah, and the last sloka which Rashmi actually shared this with me, the Nishrenyam Brahmalokasya Vagdevyah Karna Kundale, right? So it's a beautiful explanation she gave, which is there in the first chapter's recording. So I'll again post that. But just to put one of the points which I really liked is, it says Vagdevya Karna Kundale. That is the Mahabharata and Ramayana apparently are the earrings of Saraswati Devi, right? Vagdevya, Karna Kundale, right? So it's a very beautiful phrase that I really liked, right? So it's a blessing that we can get to read these things, right? Yeah. So with that, we'll get started with the sub chapter 2 within the chapter 1, right? Yeah. So the premise or the foundational context that we have while we are reading this in this particular gathering is that every single character that we come across, okay, is myself, okay. So we started off with that particular understanding that the great poets Valmiki and Vedavyasa Maharshis, so they were probably the best psychologists ever, right? They are probably the best psychologists in the history of mankind, because they took each single behavior that we portray in our lives and they converted that behavior into one full person, right? So this is for the benefit of those who just joined today, right? So for example, if you took the Mahabharata, so in certain situations in my life I behave like Duryodhana, right? In certain situations of my life I behave like Shakuni. In certain situations of my life I behave like Karna, right? And certain situations I behave like Yudhishthira. Certain situations I behave probably like Arjuna. Some situations I behave like Krishna himself, right? So in certain situations I'm like Draupadi. Certain situations I'm like Dhritarashtra. Or you take Ramayana also, in certain situations I behave like Manthara, right? Certain situations I behave like Dasharatha, or you name any character. That particular character in that epic or Mahakavya is me behaving in a certain situation like that, right? And that behavior is blown up into one full personality or character itself in this whole Mahakavya, right? So with every line that we are reading, let's keep getting back to the understanding that okay, this is me in a particular situation, okay, every single character. So with that, our whole perspective or understanding of the Mahakavyas will completely change, right? So instead of asking why did Duryodhana have to do that, why did Dushasana do that to Draupadi, so we might have to ask ourselves the question, why would I do that in this particular situation? Why would I behave like that, and that will actually open up a whole new understanding of ourselves, right? So that is the understanding. Yeah. So please feel free, again this is not a training session absolutely at all, and all of us here are are key people. All of us here are of the same are in the same state right now. Okay, so today in fact I wanted to request maybe if anybody else would want to read, because the first two sessions I've been reading, so we'll take turns one by one. So I'll share the screen anyway, and we'll take turns to read, so all of us get a chance to read it, right? So I'd like to maybe ask if anybody would like to volunteer reading this. I think somebody joined right now. Oh yeah, Navnita, you had your hand raised.
I was requesting if I could read.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. So, all right. So the chapter 1, the subchapter 2. Right. Yeah. So that's the premise. So let's just continuously keep thinking that it's me. The poet is speaking about me in different situations. Okay. So we'll maybe read it till about 5:50, and then we'll take the last 10 minutes to just maybe contemplate how this is really applicable to me in my current day life. Is there any takeaway that I have? All right. We may have a takeaway, we may not have a takeaway, but yeah, we'll just maybe keep the last 10 minutes to just discuss any interesting any other. Some of you may know beautiful anecdotes or other stories about what we read through. Please feel free to share that. All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Navnita, over to you, please. Yeah.
Hearing Narada's words, who was accomplished in speech, the great sage with dharma in his soul worshipped him, accompanied by his disciple.
So the great sage, just for everybody's reference, is Valmiki. So
Valmiki.
because it's there in the previous chapter. Yeah. So yeah. All right.
Having been worshipped in the proper way, the celestial sage Narada, took his leave and departed through the sky to the world of the gods. After some time had passed, the sage went to the banks of the Tamasa, not very far from Janvi. The great sage reached the banks of the Tamasa. With his disciple standing next to him, he saw that this Tirtha was free from all mud. He said, O Bharadwaja, look, this Tirtha is free from all mud. It is beautiful and the waters are pleasing, like the mind of a virtuous man. O son, place the water pot here and give my garment made of bark. I will immerse myself in this supreme tirtha of Tamasa. Bharadwaja was thus addressed by the great souled Valmiki. Controlled and attentive towards his preceptor, he gave the sage the garment made of bark. The one who had controlled his senses received the garment made of bark from his disciple. He advanced, glancing in every direction at the great forest. Near the spot, the illustrious one saw a couple of curlews wandering around attached to each other. The sound they made.
Curlews for reference is that Krauncha Pakshi, right? So just again as an introduction to the others who have joined today, the first few chapters is giving a summary of the entire Ramayana, by the way, right? So it speaks about what happened throughout. So yeah, so right now the situation of how Valmiki got into composing the Ramayana is what is going on right now. So curlews is that the stork, I mean the Krauncha Pakshi, and I think that's the best translation of the Krauncha Pakshi. So the swan-like birds that Valmiki saw before he composed the Ramayana. So just for reference, yeah. Yes, Navnita, please.
Yes, the sound they made was beautiful. There was a Nishada who bore evil intent towards those who resided there. While he looked on, he killed the male one from that couple. Limbs covered with blood, it trembled on the ground. On seeing it slain, the wife lamented in piteous tones. The sage had dharma in his soul. He saw that the bird had been brought down by the hunter and was moved by compassion. Full of compassion, and on seeing the female curlew that was weeping, the Brahmana recognized this as a dharma. He spoke these words, O Nishada, this couple of curlews was in the throes of passion, and you killed one of them. Therefore, you will possess ill repute for an eternal number of years. Having said this, a thought arose in his heart. Overcome by sorrow on account of the bird, what is this that I have uttered? The intelligent and immensely wise one reflected on this. Having made up his mind, the bull among sages spoke these words to his disciple. While I was overcome by grief, these words emerged. They have rhythm and meter and are arranged in padas with an equal number of aksharas.
So this one, again for the reference of others, in the previous chapter, that particular shloka that it's not actually a shloka. So Valmiki, he sort of scolds the hunter, the Nishada, the pronunciation we can check that. So he scolds him because he kills one of the birds, right? And what he scolds him in, I mean, back then they were conversing in Sanskrit, right? So what he utters as a scolding incidentally gets fit into the Anushtup Chandas, which has 16 aksharas in each pada, right? He didn't do it intentionally. It just happened subconsciously that the scolding also came in the form of a shloka, right? So that is what is being mentioned here. Yeah. Yes, Nandita, please. Yeah.
This and nothing else will be a shloka.
Yeah.
The sage spoke these supreme words to his disciple and he accepted them cheerfully. The preceptor was also content. Following the prescribed rites, the sage performed his ablutions. How do I pronounce it?
Ablutions.
Ablutions in that tirtha. He returned, thinking about the purport of what had transpired. Bharadwaja, the humble and learned disciple, followed his preceptor at the rear, having filled the water pot.
Yeah.
The one who knew about Dharma entered the hermitage with his disciple. Seating himself, he conversed about other things, but continued to meditate on what had happened. The Lord Brahma, the creator of the worlds, himself arrived there. The immensely energetic one with four faces arrived there to see the bull among sages. Seeing him, the self controlled Valmiki was at a loss of words. Supremely astounded, he quickly arose and joined his hands in salutation. He worshipped the god and honored him with Padya,
Mm. Yeah.
Padya, Arghya, and a seat. Having prostrated himself in the proper way, he asked him about his welfare. Worshipped in this wonderful way, the illustrious one seated himself. He instructed the great sage Valmiki to also be seated. In the presence of the grandfather of the worlds himself, Valmiki sat down, his mind still meditating on what had happened. So meditating here in this context is processing.
Processing. Yeah. Yeah. Processing.
Okay.
Yeah.
His intelligence clouded by a sense of enmity that evil souled one created a hardship. Without any valid reason, he killed a curlew that sang in such beautiful tones. He was again overcome by sorrow on account of the curlew. Full of sorrow in his mind, full of sorrow in his mind, he again chanted the shloka.
Yes.
Brahma smiled at the bull among sages and said, "You have composed a structured shloka. There is no need to think about it. O Brahmana, the meter and the speech arose from me. O supreme among sages." This was so that you could recount Rama's conduct in its entirety. In this world, the intelligent Rama possesses all the qualities and has dharma in his soul. He possesses fortitude, and you have heard about his conduct from Narada. Everything that the intelligent Rama did openly and in secret with Sumitra's son, and all that concerns the Rakshasas. You know about Vaidehi's conduct, whether it has been revealed or is a secret. All that is unknown will also become known to you. In the kavya you composed, not a single word will be false, and there will be nothing that will not happen. In structured and beautiful shlokas, compose the auspicious account of Rama's conduct. As long as there are mountains and as long as there are rivers on this earth, till such a time, this Ramayana account will circulate in the worlds. As long as Rama's account composed by you circulates, till that time, you will reside in the upper regions, the nether regions, and even in my world. Having spoken these words, the illustrious Brahma vanished. With his disciple, the sage Valmiki, was struck by great wonder. All the disciples again chanted the shloka. Cheerful and extremely surprised, they chanted it repeatedly. It was chanted by the great sage in four padas
Padas.
with an equal number of aksharas in each. Because of repeated recitation and because it emerged from sorrow, it came to be known as a shloka.
Yeah, so from
Thus,
shloka came the shloka. So that's how the word. Okay, last one of the, I think the first session Rashmi mentioned about it. So from shoka, from sorrow, it arose, so it got called a shloka. So yeah.
okay. Thus, intelligence came to Valmiki, and thinking about it in his mind, he composed the entire Ramayana Kavya. Okay. He decided that this is what he should do. In beautiful padas, the broad-minded and illustrious one composed the account of the illustrious Rama's conduct with an equal number of aksharas in hundreds of So every shloka has equal number of
16.
aksharas.
Yes, yeah. There are a couple of slokas with other chandas also, but
Mm.
more than 95% apparently is in Anushtup chandas only. 95% of
Mm.
the 40,000 is Anushtup chandas only. Yeah, yeah,
With an equal number of aksharas and hundreds of shlokas. The generous and intelligent sage composed a kavya that brought him fame.
yeah. Perfect. So that actually completes chapter one of two. Yeah. So I mean, if we just have to take some time to reflect on, again, like I said, every character is us, right? So who is that hunter within me? uh, who are the two curlews, those crauncha pakshis, those two birds? Who are those two within me, right? So I mean, again, it might be too much for us to actually process and think about it, but eventually we will realize that they are aspects of me only, within us. I would leave that discussion open. If you could share what is your process. I would like to start off with mine, for example. So those two birds are absolutely, they are symbolism of absolute purity, the Krauncha Pakshi, right? So in fact, even in music also, Krauncha, Krauncha, that bird is responsible for one of the swaras. So Krauncha is the Akshay. Do you remember Krauncha Pakshi? ಯಾವ ಸ್ವರ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ? Krauncha is Rishabham. No, Krauncha is. Give me a second.
Sir, not exactly. Yeah, sir.
So swaras and birds. Swaras and animals. So there is one bird, one swara coming from the elephant, one swara coming from a horse, one swara coming from a frog. So swaras and animals. Give me a second. So, yeah, so Shadjam is peacock. So Sa comes from a peacock, Rishabham comes from a bull, Gandharam Ga comes from a goat, Madhyamam Ma comes from the crauncha. So this that bird, the curlew. Okay. Panchamam, the swara Pa comes from a cuckoo, kokila, right? And Dhaivatam Dha comes from a horse or Ashwa, and Nishadam comes from an elephant, right? So that I'll share this chart on the group again. So now they're the purest of birds when you look at it, a swan, So there is again a male and a female, that was. So they were actually in a union. So these two birds, right? Something of that purity was in union, and there is this hunter who comes and kills the male, right? So we also discussed this particular shloka in the first session, which is there in the Viveka Chudamani of Shankaracharya, right? So the jantunam narajanma and durlabhamataha pumstvam tato, so amongst all living beings, jantunam narajanma durlabhamataha. So being born as a human being is extremely difficult, and then in that it is very difficult to be born as a male, is what tato pumstvam, so he says, to be born with purushatva is even more difficult. So, and we had a very detailed discussion as to why that gender inequality, why not female? So does that mean being born as a female is not really auspicious? We had a very detailed discussion about that, and Swami Chinmayananda has very clearly explained the meaning of that in his translation of the Viveka Chudamani, where he clearly says that male and female are not the biological male and female. It is the male and female characteristics, again, behaviors, right? So characteristics like courage and willpower, detachment, all of these are attributed to masculine characteristics, and all the feelings or behaviors of compassion, gentleness, kindness, softness, nurturing nature, and including attachment is actually considered bucketed under the feminine characteristics. right? So here they're saying this particular hunter has come and killed the male, okay, specifically. So he could have killed the female also, right? So he's killed the male. So which means for us to really tread on the spiritual path, for us to really be single minded and not get sucked into the materialistic world that we have around us, we need masculine characteristics for us to detach, right? For us to have that sort of a willpower to not get sucked into the materialistic world, right? So here the hunter has killed that male bird, which is representative of courage and willpower to stay on the spiritual path without getting attached to it. Okay, so if we could take it that way, I'm just giving my interpretation. The rest of you can share your thoughts on that also. So, and in that process, so you see the curse that Valmiki says here, it says you will. What is the curse here? I'll just go to that part again. Yeah, so he says, therefore you will possess ill repute for an eternal number of years. Okay, so there's a sage here cursing somebody that you will never get moksha. You will forever, be cursed with ill repute for an eternal number of years. So what does that mean? As long as I don't have the courage and willpower and the masculine characteristics that will lead me to moksha, then I will definitely be sucked into this materialistic cycle, this cycle of birth and death continuously. So that is what I see as the interpretation here, that you will possess ill repute for an eternal number of years. Okay, and then if that is the Krauncha Pakshi, and if I am myself the hunter. Okay, so I just want to take a quick pause here and then check what is your understanding. Did that make sense, or any thoughts that you all have? I'll stop presenting for the time being. Yeah. Okay, so Brahma also coming there. Yeah, Deepu, please.
I I've always been recently of late thinking about if I'm born as a woman, what should I really now focus on? So I am a woman, I am a mother, I am a wife, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ. But all of the responsibilities that I start taking as a woman is making me more attached in a way, and ತುಂಬಾ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಹುಡ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಟು ಕಂಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ವಾಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನಿಂಗ್ ದ ರೈಟ್ ವೇ, ಅಥವಾ ಇಫ್ ದಟ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮೇಕ್ ನಾಟ್ ರೆಸಿಪ್ರೊಕೇಟೆಡ್, ಅಗೇನ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇದು ಹಿಂಗಾಗ್ತಾ ಹಿಂಗಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನನಗೆ. ಸೊ ಎವ್ರಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಐ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು understand, okay, if I'm born as a woman, what are the qualities that I should live my life with? Now, to give importance ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, to fit the male dominant characters in me, and should I nourish that? We usually always suppress that, detachment ಇದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು, ಆ ಥರ ಬ್ರೇವರಿ ಅಂತ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಸಪ್ರೇಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ವಾಟ್ ಆಸ್ ವುಮೆನ್ ಶುಡ್ ವಿ ಡೂ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಸ್ ಅ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಇವನ್ ನೌ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ popping up in my head.
Beautiful question. In fact, Rashmi asked me this question last week, so we had a detailed discussion about this. So it's like, so what am I supposed to do? I am born as a woman now. So what am I supposed to behave like a man? So, or am I supposed to remain a woman? What am I supposed to do? It's a fantastic question. You've brought it. So again, I would like to know if others have any thoughts on that. I had a view. I will share that. But if others think you have a view, I would love to hear it. You're born as a woman, so should I continue doing the roles and responsibilities of a woman? Because the moment you become a wife, the moment you become a mother, you have no choice but get attached. That a mother is in fact Kanakadasar, there's a kriti he's written, Kanakadasar, the first line he says, Tayi ginta maye unte. Is there an illusion that is more powerful than a mother? Is there a bondage that is more powerful than a mother? Right. So that is the first line of his composition itself. Right. Yeah. So mother, the moment you're a mother, you have no choice but being attached to, either your children or your roles and responsibilities. So how do you come out of that? I think it's a very powerful question she's asked. Yeah. Navnita, please, you had your hand raised.
What I feel, yeah, Deepa.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಕ್ಕ ಹೇಳಿ.
So what I feel in the current context, and I myself had this question for many years, and now where I stand and what I am in the process of realizing is, you should play your cards according to the situation and the scenario that you're in. So yes, while there might be some virtues and some behaviors which come more naturally to you, since you are born a woman or a mother, there are some of the other traits in us which are there but which are hidden, and probably they are down below because we've not used it enough. Yeah. But I think based on the situation, we should consciously bring it out so that those virtues also get practice and exposure, right? So yes, you will have the question that Rashmi asked is very valid. And I think that question comes more often to women. I don't know, I speak for myself. And then it comes with a little bit of guilt also that, hey, am I not doing my role as a mother when I am doing, so for example, if I am taking a very bold decision in my life, the first question that a woman tends to ask herself is, am I being a good mother? Or am I being a good woman as per the society norms? And I think it's okay. Sometimes we may have to not be able to please everybody, but if I can please my conscience and say that, hey, it's okay for these qualities to come forward, because that's what makes my soul happy.
Yeah.
I look at it this way.
Absolutely. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Deepu, you wanted to share something. Deepa, you wanted
ಅದೇ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನವೀನ್ ಪಾಪ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ದಟ್
ಯಾರು ಸಾರಿ
pleasing everybody is not the way to go. You should be true to what your conscience is saying anta. That's exactly where I'm getting stuck. My conscience is also telling me that no, accept your roles as a woman and you'll be at peace. You'll be able to function comfortably because you do not really have pressure of performing as a male in the society, in the family, and a pressure illa. That pressure is within me. Like I want to thrive in my profession. I also feel guilty if I don't do it. I feel guilty if I not give my time to the son, the family, ella jade thara agutte. So which to choose, or is it that I choose to be more of a woman now for few years and then change that? But the internal fight is extremely high. Attachment is also dragging a lot, and I don't know what to do.
I like that question. Do I continue with this particular position for a few more years, maybe until my son reaches a certain age, and then I become detached? That's a fantastic question. Yeah, very nice.
And will that be possible also? I don't know if that will be possible.
Your mother not detached? Is she detached from you?
Not at all.
So you're old enough for her to be detached, but she's still not. So that is why Thai anta mai unte. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Yes,
just to add one point there. Sorry, I'm taking a little time here, but
please, we have time.
Digressing a little bit from Ramayana, there is this book written by Indra Nui, and there she says that guilt is a twin sister of every woman.
Indira Nooyi, the CEO of Pepsi, by the way, for the rest of you. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and she also has many stories what's similar
Yeah.
to
The
what
mom
Deepa is
guilt.
mentioning.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of her interviews where she mentions that,
Yeah.
the guilt
And
she
her kid
has.
used to write these letters and leave it in her
Mm-hmm.
laptop bag saying that please come
Mm-hmm.
home and all.
Mm-hmm.
So she said you can either be guilty, you can be very well educated and all of that, and you do not go, you don't pick up a career or anything, and then you feel guilty that oh my God, I've studied so much,
Mm-hmm.
I was a rank holder and I didn't do anything about it. So that is one guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go all out and work and this and that and feel guilty that hey, I'm not spending time. So you choose which guilt
Which guilty one?
you want to live with.
Yeah.
But the twin sister will always be with you, is what she
Yeah,
says.
yeah. I mean, there are so many insights, so many insights. I mean, this is the reason why I actually wanted this circle, this study circle, right? So, uh, practically speaking, so now I see. In my view, I'm right now reminded of Ramalingam sir. Ramalingam sir is one of my he's my mentors in the field of behavioral analysis. Rajesh, by you also met him, right? Yeah. So Ramalingam sir. So a very very senior person in the field of behavioral analysis. I think he's already entered his 90s now, right? So when I met him he was 88, so that was in 2018. So now it's 7 years, so yeah, he must be 94 something, and he still conducts sessions, by the way, right? So yeah, so he has a particular psychometric assessment tool with him which will tell you how much percentage of a man and a woman you are, right? And he tells during the session that he is 64% female, right? And 44%, 46% male. The test actually gives you a split of how much of a male and female you are, right? You can be born a man, but can be female in your feminine in your nature, right? And born vice versa, right? Can be born a female with having masculine characteristics as well, right? So I think we are not. It's not a number set in stone. I think in different situations the female element will come up in me. Different situations the male element will come up in me, right? So either way, I think this is the response I gave to Rashmi also, right? Either way, I am polarized. I want to introduce this word polarization, where I either have a masculine polarity or a feminine polarity. Okay, for convenience sake, let me use, just for explanation, as positive and negative charges. Okay, I'm not going to assign positive to feminine or masculine and negative to feminine or masculine, right? I'm playing my cards safe. Okay, for understanding's sake, let's take the polarities as positive and negative. Okay, so and how are these charges? So I'm trying to bring in a little bit of neuroscience also here. Again, most of you know that I'm a fan of neuroscience. So with every emotion I'm triggering in my mind, I either have a positive charge around in my energy field, or I have a negative charge in my energy field. Okay, so if we have to take the concept of emotional intelligence, and Navnita is also an expert with that, we have the 5 fundamental emotions: love, joy, sorrow, anger, and fear. I'm repeating that: love, joy, sorrow, anger, fear. Okay. Now, out of that, love and joy are the so-called positive emotions. I'm just giving that. Again, love and joy in excess can also become negative, right? So that's why I'm not stamping them with those sign symbols for our explanation's sake. Love and joy are the positive emotions, and anger, sorrow, and fear are the negative emotions, right? So whether I am experiencing anger because of my family member, or because of an office colleague, or because of a stranger on the road, the chemical getting secreted in my brain is the same. There isn't. I don't have a separate chemical for an auto rickshaw driver. I don't have a separate chemical for my manager when he's stressing me out. The chemical is cortisol, and it is the same. Adrenaline and cortisol, they're the same two chemicals only, right? Every time I'm experiencing love because of my child, or because of my spouse, right, or any person whom I really love, the chemical is oxytocin. It's the same. Love is the love hormone, right? So I'm experiencing the same. I don't have a separate chemical for my wife. I don't have a separate chemical for my daughter. The chemical is oxytocin, right? So the feel good hormone for joy again is dopamine, right? Whether I'm smelling a rose or I'm eating my favorite ice cream flavor, or whether I hear a baby laugh or I see a little puppy, a very cute puppy, the chemical in my brain is dopamine. Simple, right? So there are no separate chemicals for those. They are getting secreted in different degrees. Okay. So now, when if you look at it, the words used in Sanskrit is raga and dvesha. The broad categories: raga is love or attachment, and dvesha is hatred. Okay, raga is love, and dvesha is hate. Okay, so now love and joy can both be put under raga. Anger, sorrow, and fear can be put under dvesha. I'm just broadly categorizing them, right? So as a mother, now when you take look at it, as a mother, the moment you have a child, there is intense protective feeling that comes to you. You become very protective. You may become very possessive also. But now tell me, with intense protective feeling and with intense possessiveness, are you actually experiencing positive emotions or negative emotions? With intense protective feeling and intense possessiveness towards your child, or maybe towards your husband, or whatever it is, right? So are you actually experiencing positive or negative emotions? Let's take the child for an example, because we are talking about a mother only.
Both, I think.
So you will not. So would you leave your child alone on the
Amazing.
for half an hour?
No.
You won't. Why? Because we're scared. So I love my child, but I'm scared, right? So to leave it alone, right? Because so that comes there, right? So there is intense protection. So you want to ensure that there is no harm coming to the baby. So your anger element or that aggression element to protect the child is again up. Okay, so that is coming there. So that is why the motherly qualities are actually pulling you down rather than actually liberating you, if you can see what I mean, right? So of course I can't say, okay, chalo, I am spiritually enlightened now, so I'm going to leave my child in the road, let it do whatever it wants, I have faith in the cosmos. No, we won't do that. I'm still there, right? So that is where the question comes: am I playing my role or am I becoming the role? That's that sentence which I told, which one of my gurus gave me, a guru by name Narsimha Prabhuji. He mentions a beautiful sentence: play the role, don't become the role. Okay, I would want you to all please contemplate that sentence whenever you find some free time. It's a very intense sentence. It says, play the role, don't become the role. Okay, an example that he gives, again, the example he shared was, there was once a Devi Mahatmyam drama that was being played in one particular grama, in some remote village. They were playing this Devi Mahatmyam drama. Okay, and there was all the characters were male only, all masculine characters. It was a yakshagana sort of a recital, a drama role play. Okay, so and back then it used to be like 6 hours, 8 hours dramas. Right? It used to start at maybe 9 o'clock in the night and end at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so there was there was a man who was playing the role of the Devi. Okay, so about 3 hours through the drama, the role play, he got so involved into the Devi's character that he started believing that he is the Devi. And in one particular scene where he is supposed to kill a particular Rakshasa, he actually started harming the person who is playing the role of the Rakshasa. Okay, and people actually tried snapping him out of that thing and saying, hey, stop doing it, you're only playing the drama, you're only playing the role, you're not Devi. He's like, no, he's the Rakshasa, I have to kill him, right? And then apparently there are 4 people who were needed to actually separate him, because he had become so inhumanly powerful at that point of time. He forgot who he was completely, and he actually went to physically really harm the other person playing that role. Okay, so now the question is, did he play the role or did he become the role? Okay, so if he was playing the role, he could have snapped out of it and come just played his role and come out, but he became the role. So now when I am with my manager, I am playing the role of a reportee. Right? As an employee and as a reportee, I'm playing the role. And now let's imagine my manager stressed me out intensely, right? So, and then with a very stressed mind, I come home and I pour that stress onto my family members, right? So, what happened now? Did I play my role as an employee or did I become the role as an employee? Right, so I became that role, right? So I didn't drop my drama in the office, and I came, so I'm continuing the same role in a different serial, right? So imagine, so now you saw, we all must have seen that Mahabharata serial that came on Star Plus, right? So imagine you saw Sri Krishna in another serial where he's playing the role of like a road Romeo, you know. Your mind will not accept it. It's like, how can Krishna play the role of a Romeo here, no? So you are not able to accept it because he has become the role. He is not playing the role anymore. In fact, there were instances where this lady who
Sita.
played Sita, she was
Sita,
scolded
yeah.
on social media because she wore miniskirts in some party, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how
She was
can
not
Sita wear
accepted.
miniskirt, I mean, she came out of the role, but we didn't let her come out of the role, right? Is this applicable in our real life also? Yes, it is, because there is something I want to come out of my role, but people around me are not letting me come out of my role. Right? I'm too stuck because of other people's expectations. Right?
Even your friend's father, you were saying, no, last time.
Yeah. So the,
That
yeah, he was
justice.
the Chief Justice of the High Court of Karnataka. Yeah. When I asked her, is he a judge in the house also? Is he a judge only in the court, or is he a judge in the house also? Her response was, he is more a judge in the house than in the court. Right? Yeah. So that was the problem. Right? So we become the role. So I mean, I took a long route to give the answer to Deepa's question. We can continue for this topic for another 3 sessions. Yeah.
Nice topic.
Right. Yeah. So, but she also has a hard stop at 6. But again, Deepu, I think the question that Rashmi asked me was, so which one am I supposed to increase, the masculine qualities or feminine qualities? Okay. So as long as you're polarized, you will not be at peace. Whether you have the masculine qualities in excess or feminine qualities in excess, you will not be at peace. Okay. For peace, it has to be +1 -1, cancel it out, and it has to become a 0. So peace of mind is where the mind ceases to exist, where the mind does not exist anymore, right? So as long as there is the mind, there is no peace. So if I have a mind, I am entertaining one of these 5 emotions. So only if I bring my mind to a halt is when I become a 0, and that is the moment I am absolutely at peace. So I am at a 0. Right, so I take this example of a nail, with this experiment where we used to take a nail and magnetize it, right? So we used to do this during school days. You take a nail and then you place it on a table and take a magnet, and then you keep rubbing that nail with the magnet in one direction, and then eventually the nail also becomes a magnet, right? So, and then you drop the nail maybe some 10 times, you drop it down, the nail gets demagnetized, right? So we are right now severely magnetized. And what is magnetizing me? The emotions that I'm entertaining. Okay, so simple answer, if I have to, because in the interest of time, for Deepu, is I don't need to be masculine or feminine. I need to be 0. I need to, so which means I need to find that balance. So I have to show that attachment as a mother, and then again, the difference between playing the role and becoming the role is, I have certain roles and responsibilities while I'm playing this drama. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿ ಐ ಕಮ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಐ ಸ್ನ್ಯಾಪ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್. ಇಫ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ದಟ್ ಡ್ರಾಮಾ, ಟು ದ ಸೇಮ್ ರೋಲ್, that is when I'm entertaining extra emotions within me and magnetizing myself all the more, polarizing myself all the more, right? So now, as a father, I have certain roles and responsibilities for Devartha right now. So I fulfill that as a thing, but he's my son on Nandu. ನನ್ಗೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಬೇಕೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅವನು. ಈ ಥರ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಎಂಟರ್ಟೈನಿಂಗ್ ದೀಸ್ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಮೋಷನ್ಸ್ ವಿದಿನ್ ಮೀ, I am polarizing myself severely, right? But every parent out there is going through this. It's easy for me also to say, No, he's only born, I'm only a medium for him to come here. I have no authority over him. No, it's very easy to say these dialogues, but in practical, the moment I see him, I melt, right? So yeah, so we have to know how to be. Yes, yeah, Deepo, you know.
ಇದು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, playing that role and coming out after you're done playing that role.
Yeah.
I think the problem that I am facing is I don't know what to come back to. I was asking my husband the other day, who am I? Am I just Deepa? Am I Deepa the daughter? Am I Deepa the wife? Am I Deepa the mother? Am I Deepa the doctor? After playing a certain role for certain amount of time with a certain intensity, if I have to come back, I don't know where to come back, and that is probably where I'm stuck. ಈಗ ನಾನು ರೋಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿ, that I think is I mean I ask lot of my clients who come for counseling to do the same thing. Answer for yourselves, who are you anta, because we are covered with a lot of opinions that's given about us from our childhood. ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸು, ಸಿಬ್ಲಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಅವರು ಇವರು ನೀನ್ ದೀಪ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ 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 ನಂದೇನೋ ಒಂದು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಟಿ ನಾನು ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬದುಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಬಟ್ ಹೂ ಯು ರಿಯಲಿ ಆರ್ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ if they ask me back, how do I find out? I think even I am stuck there. I don't know how to find it.
Stuck. I think that's the biggest question all of us want to answer.
That was the first question that even Ma asked in the first
session. Right? That was the so every moment I'm wearing a mask. Right, so when I go to the office, there's an office mask that I'm wearing. When I'm with Priyanka, there is a husband mask I'm wearing. When I'm with Devartha, there's a father mask I'm wearing. So now ellanu bichi when I'm removing all my masks and I become maskless, then do I have a face? Right, so I realize that I actually don't have a face. Only if I have a face, I can fit a mask on it. Alva. So you realize that you don't have a face in the first place itself. So where is a mask going to come from? Alva. So I mean of course it's going to become another philosophical discussion for us. The you ultimately comes to nothingness. I mean, so if suppose you put Kartikeya to sleep, you put him to sleep. Oh, sorry, I think I got stuck. Kelistidya? Am I audible? Sorry, I think I got stuck. Am I audible?
Yeah. Okay.
So okay. So suppose you put Kartikeya to sleep and then you come to the kitchen. And nobody is there in the house. Okay, Manili yaru illa. You are alone with Kartikeya. You put him to sleep on Malkonda. Then you came to the kitchen. So what are you coming to the kitchen as? So are you coming there, because I need to now cook for my family members, and okay, you play that role, you finish it off, right? So again, you are assuming what role you are playing. So if am I cooking for my mother-in-law or am I cooking for my husband? So mother-in-law gadre food restrictions idya. So while you are putting that ingredient, you are putting on that mask and putting that ingredient. When you are cooking for your husband, you remove that mask, you put another mask, you put that ingredient. So every moment we are living with masks, right? So I think if you should not wear any masks, then that's your state of equanimity. The whatever the Sadashivatvam that we are talking about, or Om Shivoham, whatever you want to talk about, that I think we will have a separate session to discuss about who I am, right? So my guru, he clearly says, if you want to realize who you are, drop your biodata. That's the sentence he says, drop your biodata. ನನ್ನ ಸಿವಿಲ್ ನನ್ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನೇನು ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೇನೋ ಅದನ್ನ ಅಷ್ಟೂ ನಾನಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮೀ. ಸೊ ಐ ಮೈಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪುಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಎನ್ MBA graduate. So no, that is a qualification I have, that's not me, right? I might be a leadership coach, that's my profession, that's still not me, right? I might be an Indian, that is my nationality, that's still not me. Alva, my name is Rahul K. Ravindran, that's my name, that's still not me. And so I'm not this, and the drop model. So who am I? So that's an intense process by itself, alva. So I think we will maybe have a separate session completely for that itself.
I think we're so busy jumping from one mask to the other throughout our life that we don't want to be without any mask.
We don't want to be without any mask,
and we don't know. So that's our time with ourselves, right? So I always feel when you're with yourself and imagine you have a life with no gadget, nothing, no friend. You're vipassana, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what to do. What am I is, and I think that your answer comes then when you
Mm-hmm.
spend time with yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, you are that which is not, you know, right? So we will discover that nothingness in a separate session. Those of you who are interested, we will get onto a separate call. I'll set it up. I'll check with all of you and we'll set it up. We'll discuss about that. Yeah, separate
That
call.
who am I really stuck with me also, like what Deepa is saying.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
been running on my mind, and it really made a very big
Correct, correct.
impact. That day, Ma spoke about it just for a minute,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
it's really very powerful
Correct,
thing.
correct. So in that deep sleep state, in that state where you're not dreaming, also, that's who you are, right? So when I'm in that deep dreamless sleep, I'm not Rahul anymore. I'm not a father. I'm not a husband. I'm not a trainer. I'm none of those in my deep sleep state. So how do I recognize that? We will discuss systematically in another in that session. Yeah. Yes, Rajesh bhai. Solunga. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah, actually, when you're speaking about the various masks, we have been wearing a mask in office and we have been wearing a mask in home. So every time I'm removing the mask, every time I'm removing the mask, and end I found that I don't even have a face. So that created a lot of message to me in this particular discussion. So at last, when I'm seeing me where I'm nothing. I'm nowhere. So actually, I'm not in the presence.
Yeah.
So that kind of message I could sense from this
Correct.
discussion.
Absolutely.
It's a
Absolutely.
very
Right.
powerful learning for me.
Yeah.
So I'm introspecting in that
Yeah.
particular
Absolutely.
timings.
I
Yeah.
think you cannot wear a mask if you don't have a face,
Yeah.
Rajesh. So
Yeah.
the face is there, definitely there. It's just that it's lost in between so many masks. We just have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Right.
it's very interesting and very those words are really make me to think a lot.
Absolutely. See why
Is that
one of the thing, for example, physics. Also, you take physics. The three fundamental characteristics in physics is speed, distance, and time. Everything in physics is explained based on speed, distance, and time. Right. Now the funny thing is, you can't explain speed, distance, and time without speed, distance, and time. Right. So if I have to, can you define distance? So distance is the space covered between two events. So you can, that's how you will have to use speed, distance, and time only to define speed, distance, and time. That's the interesting thing. So they are fundamental elements of physics or science, basically, right? So now, if and these are all constructed. Speed, distance, and time is with a reference point. Alva? So if I say right now that dining table is about 10 feet away from me, 10 feet is a reference point, with respect to me. Okay. Now, if you look at, imagine there is an alien who is the size of the sun. Okay, who's as big as the sun. So what does 10 feet mean to that alien, right? So this 10 feet or 10 inches or 10 centimeters is what the human beings have created, right? If I say it will take me 2 hours to reach Mysore, 2 hours with respect to what? Okay, so 2 hours with respect to the sun rising from the east and setting and getting back to the east again. If it takes 24 hours, in that it takes me 2 hours, right? So if I remove the sun from the solar system, then what does 2 hours mean? Right. So I need a reference point to everything in physics, right? So now if I remove all my references, so if I say I am Rahul Ravindran, with reference to what? With reference to that I am the son of Mr. Ravindran. So that's I am my father's son, right? I am an MBA graduate. So with reference to me getting a qualification from the University of Aberdeen, I am an employee where with reference to Marlabs right now. So I am something with reference to something. I am a husband to Priyanka. I am a father to Devartha, right? I am a friend to all of you. So it is, everything is with reference to something, and now you start removing those reference points. I have nothing to refer to. How do I refer to? So then it's like it's nothing, and I am nothing. So that nothingness process. We have to process that nothingness. and it's a very intense feeling to realize what nothingness means. Right, so I'll share one video today immediately now after we end the call of this channel called Star Talk. I keep mentioning that to all my friends whom I know. Star Talk by this astrophysicist called Neil deGrasse Tyson. Okay, so he explains what nothing means as per physics. Okay, so as per physics, he explains what nothing actually means.
Okay.
Okay, so and it blows your mind, that video actually made me spiritual, and it will actually also make you realize what nothing means spiritually also. Okay, so it's actually an astrophysics channel, by the way. It's a scientific channel, but you will spiritually also realize what nothing means, right? So we'll fix another 1 hour or 1.5 hours separately besides the Thursday 5 a.m. to discuss that, and let's brainstorm there. Right, yeah, it'll be a fantastic discussion. All right,
In
so
fact, Rahul, I just want to leave one last note is this sets you thinking this class. Yesterday, I just visited a Shiva temple near this hospital that I'm in. So, and that 3/4, I had to turn back, right? So, immediately that discussion came up that, hey, we discussed that. So, it's nice. It rings a bell during your activities in the day.
True, absolutely. So I will share the session 1 and session 2 recordings to those of you who joined today. I'll share it today itself. So please go through the very interesting discussions we had in the first 2 sessions. Yeah, so I'll share it. Please make time and listen to it. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you all for joining. So we'll end with a prayer. All right. Yeah. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah Harihi Om. Thank you all very much. Yeah. Thank you. So see you next Thursday, 5 a.m. All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a
Thank
nice
you so
day.
much. Yeah.
Thank you.